I didn't have any coffee or whiskey, but I had a curry puff. And I've got lots of interesting topics for you this week. Women's CPF savings go up, narrowing gender gap. You know, all these experts again, reassuring sign that women can better meet their retirement needs. Really? After you have produced your children and done national service, what do you get at the end of the exercise? You end up sitting in a one-room flat, very poor, cannot afford to do anything. We should relook a proper pension scheme for our women. Then, of course, I look at this wonderful picture of our president surrounded by old geriatric men, and the youngest person there is the Benny Lee, who's the principal private secretary to the president. I mean, couldn't we have included some intelligent, not so geriatric women in this presidential council when we're talking so much about women in this country? This is a good story. Prisoners set up a kitchen to cook for nursing homes. I think they're providing a great service for nursing homes. But the sad part is they are paid a nominal allowance. Why only pay them a nominal allowance? We should pay them a full-fledged salary that any chef should make, so that when they leave the prison, they can actually have a nest egg that can help them set up their own restaurant. I don't know why we're always paying people nominal. We're telling people to use passion. Why don't we apply that to our members of parliament and our ministers? More support from IT for adult learners. You know, you can train them till the cows come home. You can have all kinds of education schemes and training schemes. But at the end of it all, you must address what this person will be trained to do and the livelihood he can eke out to support his family. Our cheaper, better, faster mentality must be stopped. I just called my friend in Perth to ask how much a call-out rate is for a plumber in Perth, and it is $150 minimum. How much will our IT students, even after they go to university, earn for a living? Start by paying our own people better for respectable work. If I hear any more about anti-smoking, I might just hang myself from a tree. You know, we keep harping about smoking. What about drinking, right? What about gambling? What about all those evil things that we all do when we are young? We all try it, and then we either get hooked onto it or not onto it. So instead of thinking of more and more anti-rules, why don't we turn it around and teach children control? I smoke at times. If I feel like having a cigarette, I ask my driver to give me a cigarette and I smoke it. I drink most days, but I don't get drunk and go and punch somebody in the face. And I do gamble. Whenever I play gin rummy with my husband, I definitely try to cheat him. Since I cannot have a smoke, I shall have a sip of my whiskey. All this big news about how much government is going to pump into construction jobs, and then who do they give it to? Chinese companies who will employ foreign workers. So how does this help our country? One of the first pages I look at in the papers is usually the forum page, because sometimes there are really good letters. And there's one letter, best to keep religion out of schools, which I think is a totally bad letter. I had two brilliant schools providing me with a great education, St. Anthony's Convent and Katong Convent. Both are missionary schools. I must say that most of my friends in our time went to the better schools, which were missionary schools. They gave us religious education, but they gave us also an education based on good values. They didn't try to make us Christians. In fact, in my school, I've had Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, Taoists, etc., all attending the same school. We went to church when there was a ceremony. And I remember clearly my father, who was a very staunch Hindu. In fact, he built the first Northern Hindu temple in Chander Road. He built a Chinese temple where I was born in Moonstone Lane. And all my brothers went to St. Andrew's School because he owned all the land next to the school. And I was sent to a convent. I remember whenever I said to him, Papa, there is a festival in the church. He never said, what nonsense, what rubbish, because he was a Hindu. He said, have you told the driver that you need to go to school on that particular day? And do you want to bring money or do you want to bring some food? So we were all brought up respecting religions, respecting other philosophies, but all based on good values. This one is takes the joke, 5-fold jump in amount of foreign illicit funds seized. Yes, CAD, you just touched the tip of the iceberg, the 1%. Look for the 99% that is below the water. This story is really sad. You know, I asked my driver this morning, Muhammad, what is the speed limit on the streets? He has been driving me for 35 years and he doesn't know. I came to the studio, asked these young people here, what is the speed limit on our streets? Some say 50, some say 60. So one smart fella Googled and established that actually it is 50, right? And he also told me in HDB estates it is 40. Now, have you ever seen enough signs along the roads to highlight those speed limit? Because if you travel at 40, the chances of you killing somebody is not there. So traffic police, please highlight the 40-kilometer speed limit and the 50-kilometer speed limit so that people don't drive fast. Also, put crossings where people cross. If there are a lot of old people, don't force them to go on the overhead bridge. They won't do it, right? Not just overhead, we can consider underground, we can consider level crossings where there are a lot of old people. We could also have traffic wardens at crossings where there are a lot of old people, and we can also encourage young people to assist these old people and children to cross so that we have a caring society. This top lawyer, you know, I admire him for what he did and what his wife did, because the greatest responsibility for parents is to ensure that children grow up well. And because they took their children away from Singapore because they couldn't hack the speak Mandarin policy, they couldn't hack the weather because the kid had eczema, and I can understand that is very important to the parents. What I don't understand is why he, who's a top lawyer, could not have done something about making sure that they kept within the rules. So if they reach the age when they have to come back for national service and they didn't want to, they should have just written and say, we don't want to come back. Please take our names off the register of your country, right? And then later on in life, if they decide they want to come back, they can come back as a non-citizen. But why break the rules? And now, having broken the rules, I admire him for making the kids do the right thing by coming back, going to jail, and moving on. Good luck to you, boys. I'm sure you will do our country proud. This is a really sad story, and I can really feel for this guy because last year when this accident happened, he was in the same hospital as my husband. So I met this guy, I met his small daughter and his wife who was pregnant with the second child at that time. And I was already disgusted that NParks at that time was trying to say that it was not their fault. I'm not saying that it is their fault, but surely they should do something for this poor fellow. If you plant a lot of trees around the whole country, they will fall at some point in time and hit somebody at some point in time. So take insurance against the act of the devil so that you do not try to escape helping somebody in this state. When this security guard suffered a heart attack at his place of work, the doctor immediately volunteered to do his heart surgery and did not charge for it. It took the hospital a bit of time. They have to go through the process, and now they have come up to say that they will pay for the security guard's bill. I'm so happy to know that there is goodness in my country. Thank you for watching my show again this week. Do have a whiskey and do subscribe so you won't miss any of my shows. Cheers.